Have you ever had a fight with a family member? A fight so bad you thought you might never speak to them again? This is the story of two brothers, David and Mark, who let their differences build a wall of anger so high they couldn't see over it. But one terrible night, a single phone call changed everything. Before we get into their incredible story, we'd love to know where you're watching from today. Please, let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoy stories that touch the heart, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss what we have coming up next. All right? Let's dive in. It was the 4th of July, a perfect summer afternoon at David's house. The smell of barbecue filled the air. David was at the grill, flipping burgers, while his brother, Mark, stood on the other side of the yard. They hadn't spoken in a year. David's wife, Laura, moved between them, trying to act as a bridge, but the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Then, it happened. A political report flickered onto the TV inside. Mark let out a cynical laugh. David immediately tensed up. "It's just common sense," David said, his voice tight. "It's hateful," Mark shot back, his eyes flashing. And just like that, the argument exploded. The backyard, once filled with cheerful chatter, became a verbal battleground. They yelled about handouts and ruining the country. Everyone else went silent, watching the two brothers tear each other apart. David, shaking with anger, pointed a finger at his brother. "I worked for everything I have. You and your ideas are what's ruining this country." "No, you're the one filled with fear," Mark yelled back. David's voice dropped, low and dangerous. "Get out of my house," he seethed, "and don't bother coming back, ever." Without another word, Mark walked away, got into his car, and drove off, leaving a trail of dust and broken hearts. Laura stood at the door, tears streaming down her face. The family was shattered. Months crawled by. They missed Thanksgiving together, with David and Mark eating at their mom's house at different times, carefully avoiding each other. They missed Christmas, visiting on separate days, the holiday spirit completely gone. Laura tried to convince David to call Mark, but David would just mutter, "He'll come around." But as time went on, the hot anger cooled, leaving behind a cold, empty sadness. The silence between them felt permanent. Then came a Tuesday in April. David was at his desk at work when his phone buzzed. It was an unknown number. He answered cautiously. "Mr. Miller? This is St. Jude's Hospital. Your wife, Laura, she's been in an accident. You need to come now." The world tilted. David doesn't even remember the drive. He just remembers running into the emergency room, his heart pounding in his chest. "My wife, Laura Miller," he gasped to the nearest nurse. A doctor with tired eyes approached him. "She's in surgery. It was a bad one. She has lost a lot of blood. But Mr. Miller, there's a problem." "A problem? What problem?" David asked, his voice trembling. "Your wife has B-negative blood. It's one of the rarest blood types. Our supply is gone. We need a direct donation, within the next hour, or we could lose her." David's heart sank into his stomach. "I'm O-positive," he stammered, his mind a blank. "Think," the doctor urged gently. "Is there anyone in her family? A sibling? A parent?" David's mind raced through a fog of panic. His own father. His father was B-negative, and that meant Mark, his brother, Mark. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold his phone. He scrolled to the name he swore he would never call again and pressed it. It went straight to voicemail. "Mark, Mark, pick up!" David shouted into the phone, tears now choking his words. "It's Laura. She's at St. Jude's. She needs blood. B-negative blood. Dad was B-negative. You might be. Please, Mark, just please come." He hung up and collapsed into a chair. He waited. It was the longest, most agonizing hour of his life. Every time the elevator doors dinged open, he jumped, his heart leaping into his throat, only to sink again. And then, the doors opened one more time. And there he was. Mark. His hair was a mess. He was wearing two different shoes, like he'd left in a blind rush. Their eyes met across the waiting room. In that moment, there was no anger, no politics, just raw, shared fear. "Where is she?" Mark asked, his voice raspy. A nurse ran up, clipboard in hand. "Are you the brother?" "Yes," Mark said, his voice firming up. "I think I'm B negative." As the nurse hurried him away toward the donation center, Mark looked back over his shoulder at David. "She's my sister, David," he said softly. And then he was gone. David sat back down and finally let himself break, burying his face in his hands and sobbing. 3 hours later, a figure sat down next to him. It was Mark. They sat together in a heavy, sad silence, the unspoken words hanging between them. Then Mark spoke, his voice quiet. "Remember that time Laura tried to bake a cake for my birthday and used salt instead of sugar?" A small, sad smile touched David's lips. He let out a weak chuckle. "Yeah, the dog wouldn't even eat it." They shared a quiet, tired laugh, a tiny crack in the wall between them. As the first light of dawn streamed through the hospital windows, the surgeon finally came out, a tired but genuine smile on his face. "She's stable," he announced. "She's going to be okay." That donation, it was just in time. A wave of overwhelming relief washed over David, and he sobbed again, this time with gratitude. He felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Mark. "Mark," David whispered, his voice thick with emotion. I'm so sorry. For everything. I'm so sorry." "Me too, David," Mark said, his own eyes wet with tears. "Me too. It all just got so stupid." A week later, David and Mark were sitting on either side of Laura's hospital bed. She was awake, pale but smiling. Soon enough, the two brothers started to bicker playfully about the terrible quality of the hospital food. Laura, watching them, squeezed both of their hands. Hard. "Quiet, you two," she whispered, her voice weak but happy. "You're giving me a headache." David and Mark looked at each other across the bed. And for the first time in over a year, they both started to laugh. A real, genuine laugh. They were brothers again. That was the story of David and Mark. A powerful reminder of how easily we can forget what truly matters in the heat of the moment. We want to know, have you ever had a disagreement with someone you love that just felt too big to fix? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We read every single one. And if this story resonated with you, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's completely free for you, but it helps us continue to bring you stories like this. Thank you so much for watching. We wish you a beautiful day.